All right, welcome back. Under the Rug, I am extremely excited today, as probably every black person is that exists on the planet. After that huge weekend at the box office that Black Panther raked in over $400 million, I think, worldwide over 4 days, breaking all kinds of records. Black people turned out in droves in their dashikis and all their African garbs and just dressed right down, come with drums, some put on performances. They were all out over the weekend to go and watch the Black Panther movie, which is, it's a good thing. I wouldn't knock it. Hey, have fun. I see the Star Wars premieres and you have people dressed in costumes and all the other movies, people get dressed up. So why can't black people enjoy this, black film, this powerful black film, as they've been saying, that has come out. So, go ahead and have fun. But I'm even more excited because I have two of my favorite people to join me in this discussion about not only this movie, but, black people, us as a people, and, our struggles, the things we need to do, where we need to go, because Black Panther was a very deep movie. It had a lot of undertones, and we're going to try and get through all of them throughout this hour. So I'm joined by the great Anku. A lot of you know him from the many shows he appears on. Is it Pastor Anku?
That works. Pastor Anku, or Kahun Anku.
Go ahead and give the name of the church that you pastor at.
I am the head pastor in Nassau, Bahamas, of the Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, located in historic Baintown on Meadow Street.
Bing. And just saying Black Messiah, I know you was pissed plenty people off, and you like to piss people off on Facebook, especially. I love the posts that you put up. I be liking them all the time. You just like to get under people's skin, just like me. But it's just to provoke thought and to productive dialogue. So I know what you're trying to do, but other people just think you're trying to make them mad.
No.
We also have the great Christina Marlene Thompson, aka Chrissy Love, as usual, joining us in her beautiful Wakanda uniform. She is dressed right down. She was late because she had to go in and go put on this uniform so that she could do this show. She found out we were talking about Wakanda, and she go and get dressed up for the show. Welcome, Chrissy.
Hi, Gregory. I noticed you're not calling me and Uncle your two favorite racists.
Forget
it. Not today, but y'all are two of my favorite racists, And like I said, on the show we did, I say, listen, to me, everybody racist. I racist to a degree myself. We all are, but it's a spectrum. You know what I mean? It depends on how far on each end you go, where it starts to become problematic. You understand?
Would you tell me what?
Say again?
Black people can't be what, Uncle?
Can't be racist.
Oh, here y'all go.
That's another show.
Yeah, that's another show. But let me go ahead and warn the people that are viewing right now. And I think we have here Dakota is saying, any spoilers? If so, I can't watch. Now, funny you say that, Dakota, because there are going to be many spoilers on this show. So if you are a person that I don't know what happened to you over the weekend, but maybe someone in your family passed, you better have a good reason for not going to see Black Panther. If you ain't watching yet. That's another thing. If you was under 15, then that's a whole nother story. But if you haven't seen it yet, please be warned that this will be a spoiler show. We're going to dissect the movie. We're going to talk about important plots. We're going to discuss the movie. So if you haven't watched it as yet, I warn you, either, turn the show off and watch the replay of the show after you have watched Black Panther, or you'll just have to deal with the consequences of knowing what happened in the movie, because we're going to talk about it. And Cindy Godet says, if only we as a people can unite like this all the time, we don't realize the power we have. And that's something we're going to get into as well. And I know, Uncle, you feel the same way, because you made a post on Facebook saying, and can you repeat what it was you said? Repeat the post. Let me give you a hint as to what it was. You said we love Black Panther, but now we need to start loving black people, or something like that.
Correct. That's the outpouring of support and love that I saw, and I'm sure many of you saw for Black Panther. If that could translate into us loving ourselves, then I think we headed in the right direction. So
yes,
that was basically the gist of the post. And of course, people took it where they wanted to take it.
Man, what's going on here? All kind of people have not seen Black Panther yet. Plenty of them say they gotta go because they ain't watched the movie yet. What's going on? Go ahead, Chrissy.
You had a week. You had 7 days.
a whole week. And this one
I
said
know.
because the theater is annoying. What's so annoying about the theater? I actually went. I actually went on Saturday, which was the next day after it officially came out. I went there and I had no issues. And you know what? Guess what? I know you all ain't gonna believe this, right? Went to the movie, and niggas was actually quiet throughout the movie.
Wow.
Now you know we just can't contain ourselves in movies. You gotta have some loud person to try a crack a joke throughout the movie.
That's Wakanda, you know.
The respect they had for this movie was unbelievable. Quiet, I mean, throughout the movie. I was like, this is unbelievable. So all of you that are not going to see it because you feel as though it's going to be loud and people are going to ruin it for you, trust me.
Have that problem.
Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't
ancestors.
Yes, that wasn't an issue for me at all. But let's get your take on the movie first, and then we can start to dissect. Let's start with you since you're on the far left. Chrissy, go ahead and tell us what you thought about the movie, and then we'll pitch it to Anku.
Well, again, as a child who grew up loving comic books, and unlike, I was born in the 60s, and, I always heard about the Marvel movies, and people have been talking about this movie coming out forever, and I make it my point because of how I see how the world treats people of color. I always try to support movies that star us as black people, because we all know Hollywood don't respect us as black people. And so when I saw the movie, and again, first of all, I got to say, I admired Stan Lee's creativity that this was created in the 60s. And we all know that people have been stealing from the ancient cultures of Africa from a long time. So when I saw it on the film, not to mention Michael B. Jordan, hold on.
Killmonger.
The Killmonger was a victim, no. But I was glad that it came out. I was glad that black people supported it because, we black folk tend to wait till Tuesday, $5 day to go to movies. I was good to see that on that 4-day weekend it made all that money. And it was good to see black parts where we weren't hookers and slaves and hoes and pimps and drug heads. And I liked how it portrayed the best of us, the smartest country in the world, in the galaxy, the young girl, the smartest brain box. I like how it portrayed what's great about black people. And even the villain was really a sad hero in some way. So I like all the storytelling about it. And I just think it was good for black people to celebrate who we are. Because, again, I'm in America, even though I'm Bahamian. And, Anku, you lived here. Yeah, we may go to see Black Panther, but let a man with a catsuit walk down the street. His ass will get shot. So I had mixed emotions. I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the same time, I was like, wow, if only in real life. Because every day my son walks out the door with his hoodie on, I'd be like, Lord, bring him back.
Wow.
I had mixed feelings about it. But it was a great movie.
Okay. Anku?
Definitely I share the sentiments of Chrissy in terms of just the positive images, and of course the plot in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm the type of person that I'm gonna go and find out who the director is and how this movie came to be. And so I was appreciating it from that perspective. I see people complaining and saying, why can't we just enjoy the movie with all the critiques? But me critiquing the movie is me enjoying the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, everybody may not do that, but that's me. What I thought was very interesting in terms of the way the movie played out, it's so sad that we have to create an imaginary place called Wakanda because the real one was destroyed. You know, that's really where I'm going to start with this because everything in that movie was very real in terms of the continent of Africa and the expertise, the technology. None of that was actually fairy tale for us as Africans before we met the colonizers. All right. Not that we didn't have issues in and of ourselves. Yes, we had our own issues. And you even saw in the movie where in this imaginary world there were issues, you know. But what I truly enjoyed was the fact that there's going to be a lot of spin-off from the movie in terms of the children that are going to watch it. I know my children, they didn't allow them into the theater, but they've found a way to watch it because they're my children and they found a way. And they're talking about, you know, the cool aspects of the movie. In our church, you know, we greet by saying namastu. We put the right over the left and we bow and say namastu. And we've been doing that for years. And so when they saw it, it felt like home for them. And so that's not an imaginary greeting for them. We actually greet like that every day and have been greeting like that since they were born. So when they saw Wakanda, in that regard, that aspect of the greeting was very real for them, because that's how we greet every day in our home and in our church. So that's why, you know, I smile when people go off on this whole tangent about, well, why is Batman from a real city and you know, all these other superheroes are from a real city, but Black Panther is from an imaginary place. I find it very interesting that
imaginary city.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but they forget the themes of the other superheroes. But you know, we're very super critical of ourselves. Yeah. But I want to remind people that there is an imaginary place that people think is real. It's called the Middle East. All right. And it was actually created from a story that was created out of what they call the Torah and what they call the Bible, which is actually one of the best stories ever told. But there's very little in the Greco-Roman version of it that's real. The actual characters are not real. The actual people are not real. Yet people fly into what they call Israel today, and they call it the Holy Land. And they make billions of dollars from people thinking that that actually is the place where these original stories actually took place, when those things never took place in those cities. That place that they call Jerusalem is not the actual city of Jerusalem. The place that they call Israel is not the actual Yisrael. And so they have lived a fairy tale their whole life and made us think that it was real. And now we're simply going back into who we actually are, and we have to use stories to do it. And we've always been storytellers in our culture, and the stories have always helped to transmit intergenerational knowledge from one generation to the next. So what this means for us, I can't speak for all Black people, but for many Black people, is that the realities out of the story we can hold on to, and we can build on it and utilize it to actually begin to respect each other, begin to respect our culture, begin to respect our rights, and understand that we have this story that Marvel created, this superhero that Marvel created, really has its roots in reality.
And in the 60s.
Exactly. Yes. In the 60s. Where there really are people called Black Panthers that are our heroes.
And interesting that the comic was actually created before the Black Panther Party, because a lot of people they copied it from the Black Panther Party or got it from it was actually created before the Black Panther Party. So people on the internet research.
But the Black Panther, that was something that it was in the Olmec civilization. That existed in our culture before Stan Lee.
For sure.
They've done their research as well.
For sure. Well, let me go ahead and give my critique. But what's your overall take for the movie? Like you said, you had some critiques, but you thought it was.
I loved it. I loved it. I'm going back to see it again.
Awesome. I really enjoyed the movie. It was a really good movie. I do think a lot of people did get caught up in the hype and were given some. But again, that's their opinion too, so they could be expressing their true opinions. But I do think some people got caught up in the hype. It wasn't the best movie ever, the greatest movie ever created. But it was a really good movie. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the way the story was told. I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed the acting by most of the actors. It's a lot of stuff that I enjoyed. And like you both said earlier, I enjoyed the representation of Africa, Black people, and showing Black people in a light that we're not accustomed to seeing on the big screen, which is in positions of power as kings, as the heads of their own situations, being in charge, being tough. You know what I mean? We don't get to see this often. Like Chrissy said, you see pimps, hoes, rappers, killers, thugs. This is the slaves. This is how we're often portrayed. So I enjoyed we were portrayed in that powerful aspect. It's not the first time it happened, but it's happened before, but this is a huge scale on a movie of this scale. It's the first time we're seeing it on this big of a movie, this successful of a movie. So those things I did enjoy. I do have some critiques. Black Panther was the least interesting character in the movie. He was very to me. I didn't like the way he was portrayed because he seemed very unsure of himself. He came off as very weak and vulnerable. And I know they were probably trying to humanize him to a degree, but I think they did it too much because I still wanted the hero to feel like, okay, this dude, you know, he could take on whatever. But as we discovered, the toughest Wakandan is Eric Killmonger. Eric Killmonger defeated.
He's the most violent for sure.
But he beat him with ease. You know what I mean? He beat the child with ease. It was like this dude. And like he said, is this your king? This your king? This is your greatest representation of your country? This dude who I just washing like this? So,
that was powerful because that showed that, you know, it takes more than just this brute strength to be the king.
Right.
You know, and the king does have vulnerabilities, and that's why he leaned so much on those who were around him, whether it was his bodyguards or his advisors or his priests.
No, I get it. And like I said, that's quite fine. But he was a bit too dry for me. I wanted to feel.
I feel you.
He was, in my opinion, he was a lot more powerful in Civil War. Like that Black Panther in Civil War was the guy I wanted to see in this movie, and I don't think that. He seemed like he went back a few steps from Civil War point. Like he got weaker in this movie to me.
The guy, Greg.
But no, if you have watched both movies, I think most people would agree with me. If you see Black Panther in Civil War and you see him in Black Panther, he is a lot better in Civil War than he is in Black Panther. So that's one of the gripes I had. And also, you know, some of the
took direction well.
Yeah, and some of the CG, you know, was kind of wonky and not really impressive.
Blame what CG is. We ain't all like you.
Oh, sorry. the computer generated images.
I mean, I know, but other people.
Computer generated imagery that was on screen was not the best. I've seen a whole lot better. And also the final fight left a lot to be desired. At least the final fight between Black Panther and Killmonger was very mediocre. And the fight choreography in the movie could have been better. But like I said, overall, the story, the depiction of Black people, overall, it was a really good movie and I really enjoyed it. But those were the gripes that I had. I wish, you know, Black Panther was stronger. But to me, I'm a fan of Killmonger, and I'm gonna be honest. Going into the movie, I was not a big fan of Michael B. Jordan because I don't think he's a really good actor, but I was pleasantly surprised at his portrayal of Eric Killmonger in this movie, and he stole the movie to me. He was the star of this movie to me. Besides the actual country of Wakanda, Eric Killmonger was the star of this movie. And Michael B. Jordan did an amazing job. And like I said, I didn't think he was the best actor going in, but he did his thing in this movie.
The guy actor who was the leader of the tribe that was in the mountains.
Anku.
He was my favorite.
Hold on, which one?
The one who was the leader.
Yeah, he was great as well. He actually did an awesome job as well. I didn't know who he was going into, but he stole the scenes that he was in.
Yeah, he did his thing. I like the little sister. Big brother component, you know. I thought about my little sisters as I saw that in real life, and I just like the fact that, you know, I use that now as a tool to try to help my children from rowing and fighting each other over little. Y'all see the movie? They wasn't fighting.
But can I tell y'all being a little too masculine? Because
Go ahead.
you say that the Black Panther character was weak. You see, as a person filled with estrogen, I look at it a bit differently. The fact that he was strong enough to tell his father, "You are wrong." The fact that
That's strong.
Enough to admit his emotion for his first cousin. So it's hard to whoop your first cousin ass when you see the tragedy in his life. So I think what you call maybe not having brute strength, but he had deeper strength to me. Mm-hmm. So I guess, you know, men like the fight scenes.
No. I agree with you. That's a great point and a great perspective, and I appreciate that. You made a great point. I cannot argue that.
And to add to that, the Black Panther really represents the goddess Bast. So even though he's male, the Wakanda pays homage to the female goddess Bast, and so he's personifying more of a matriarchal role in the movie in that regard, whereby matriarchy, it wasn't about women ruling men or men ruling women, but there was about a balance, and that's why you saw the strong element coming a lot from the women more so than even the Black Panther. Those women, they wasn't, he could, they wasn't playing. You see what I'm saying?
They said the one from Civil War, from the girl, I think she was in Black Panther as well, but when they were in the tunnel, and she told Black Widow, move or be moved.
Oh, yeah.
Civil War. I fell asleep in Civil War.
I gotta watch Civil War. I haven't seen
y'all gotta watch Civil War, man. Y'all see what I talk about once y'all watch it. But you made reference to Bast, and I don't know if you all caught it, but they also made reference to Bast in the movie when Shuri was getting ready to drive the car for the chase scene, and she was, which side of the road do we drive on? And the T'Challa said in the air, for Bast's sake, just drive.
Yes.
So they did their research. They threw a lot of subtle things in there. I do like how they, paid respects to a lot of the history of Africa and all of these things. It was very well done. So it's a well put together film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very well.
I thought it was also cool that a portion of the film was shot in Tyler Perry's studio.
I know.
Yeah, awesome.
And and that $84 million of that $200 million budget was spent in Atlanta, in ATL, and there are more movies being made in Atlanta than there are in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you, look, build it. If you build it, they will come. Don't wait for somebody to do something for you. Put yourself in a position to be able to reap the benefits instead of waiting for someone to do something for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, let's start to dig a little deeper in some of the thoughts of this film, right? Now, I was messing with my boy Graham, who's watching right now, right? And he says Wakanda forever. Chrissy been saying Wakanda forever. Oh, everybody, Wakanda forever. Everybody, Wakanda forever.
Yes.
And so I asked him, I like just like you, Anku, I like to poke people, right? So I say, so you a Trump supporter, Graham? He say, hell no. And so I put to him, well, Trump ran his whole campaign on this isolationist theory, right? So we keep, the bad immigrants out. Let's build a wall. I want to build a wall. Who has built a better wall than the people of Wakanda? Because you don't even know the city exists. You cannot even see Wakanda. So they with that isolationist theory where Trump has that, listen, everybody on the outside, even when you see when Killmonger came in, they was like, he's an outsider, he don't deserve. They are not into immigrants at all. So do you support Wakanda?
Yeah, like heaven.
Exactly. This is the land. Only us from here deserve to reap the benefits of this land. We don't want nobody in here. And that's why Nakia left, which was T'Challa's ex-girlfriend. She left because she was like, we have all of these resources, all of this good stuff. We can help people. You have Black people out here suffering, and you're all just okay with just living in this bubble. So is it really Wakanda forever? And that's why I put in the title, which Black lives matter? Because it doesn't seem to be that all Black lives are important or matter, just certain lives in certain sectors that became important.
But
Your thought?
Brothers fought, remember? Because Unjobo, who was Killmonger's father, that was the problem he had with him too. He was like, how could we have all this and not share with the world? I love the montage in the movie where they show slavery happening. They show the war happening. They show all the bad things happening to people of color. So even before Nakia had an issue with it, he killed his own brother over the fact that why can't we share with the world? Yeah, he teethed the vibranium, whatever it named. But still, that's the question. And do we be selfish and preserve, or do we share with the world?
Yeah, I mean, my look on it really has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of the people that can be helped have unfortunately been infected by this very colonizer. And to help them is a noble idea and it's a noble goal. However, if that land was going to be preserved, there's no way they could allow those people in there. As they said, you bring in the refugees, they bring in their problems. And that's a reality. And yeah. Now That being said, right,
Mm-hmm.
I felt Killmonger in so far as, why can't we just take a little bit and slap them up with it, and at least be ruling in our own way outside of Wakanda? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's happening to us. We getting beat down out here. Y'all sitting in here in a bubble. At least give us a little bit. But then naturally, the thought is, will you know when to stop? Will you actually utilize it the way that we have done for, for centuries, or however long Wakanda's been in existence?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a beautiful dichotomy in terms of making this discussion a real one, because that's essentially what, I'm a pastor, so I always see it from through the lens of religion in some way. But that's what this heaven is all about. Everybody can't go into heaven. You can't. There's a standard that has to be met for you to make it into heaven. If you don't meet that standard, you're not allowed in. Why? Because we have to maintain the status quo of what heaven is. This is why there was a war in heaven to begin with, because that status quo was tampered with. And in order to maintain the status quo, that is the status quo of heaven, those who went against the status quo, you must now leave, and there will never be any place found for you. And so that essentially is where they got the story of heaven from, because this place actually did exist. We did have kingdoms, as they were referred to it, where you could not enter unless you met a particular standard. This is in the Dead Sea Scrolls. They call it Akhet Aten. It was later called the Garden of Eden in the King James Version of the Bible. These places existed and will exist again. And so, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that when Greg uses the analogy about the wall of Trump, you see, when people are already in their civilization and they're building up each other, that's different. But America, like that, the Trump wall is a different kind of analogy. That's false.
Yeah. Okay, tell me how.
Well, first of all, the indigenous people of this land, America, did I mention I'm in America? Thank you. The indigenous people were the Indians.
Inside the wall.
What it's advocating is just how these people came here and migrated. Trump is a foreigner.
Hold on 1 second. I don't like when people call them Indians, Aren't Indians from India?
Americans? Is that better for you?
Yes, that's no. And this is I'm glad you said it, because this is what me and Anku get into one little comment situation on Facebook, because I posted I made a post, right? I like to spark thought, right? So I put and this is why I don't like a lot. Some labels are the most ridiculous things on earth, and people just, oh well, this is what it is, so let's use it, right? And I put Elon Musk is more African American than LeBron James, and see you laughing, right? But here's the thing. Elon Musk is from South Africa, and he also has American and Canadian citizenship. So he has African citizenship and American citizenship. LeBron James, if you look on his Wikipedia, he is an American. And this is how black people, and I don't like the term African American. I don't like that term, because these people are Americans. They're not from Africa. They were born in America, raised in America. All they know is America. And this is how black people were tricked, right? Because now they are a subset of an American. This is why you hear the white racists say you need to go back to your country, or they feel more ownership of America than blacks, because you have this. You are a subsidiary of an American. You are an extension. You are off the branch when I am the original. Because look at it like this, right? What do they call? Do they call white Americans European Americans?
Yes, they do. They call them white American.
I have never heard anyone refer to a white American as a European American. I've heard African American. I've heard Mexican American. I've heard all these other Americans. But the crazy thing is, like you said, it's so crazy because the original Americans, we hyphenate their what they are, Native American. That's garbage. They are American. They're the real American. If anything, what we call Native Americans should be straight American, and everybody else, white people should be European. If you want to go that route, white people should be European American, black people African American, blah blah blah, and the natives just American. But I don't like those hyphenated American terms because they don't make sense to me.
Greg,
the thing,
they don't call themselves European Americans. they break it down. I grew up in Brooklyn. Every year there's an Italian American parade. There's a Polish American parade. There's a German American. They break down Europe into countries.
Okay, but if those people from
like that.
But if they partake, let's say they're in a movie or they have a big role or they have an accomplishment, do they say Polish American actor, this is such and such, get this?
Irish American.
Where you say this, Chrissy? Where you speak? I don't never hear them say, well, I'm a Polish American actor and I got this big role. But everything a Black American do, we got to say first African American to do this, African American to do that.
Because Black people have been shit on in America from slavery, colonialism,
right.
Yeah, but you don't have you like I said, I think it's because you gotta understand these subconscious mental tricks. You understand? Be aware. When you say that, why you think white people feel more ownership? You stay right there.
Because many of
Krasinski.
many of those people who consider themselves original or more American really and truly are being pretty much dishonest about the reality of how they got there and the reality of how America was built.
Exactly.
Why are we not teaching about the Olmecs who actually were there before who you calling the Native Americans? Mm-hmm. There's a group that came out of Uganda who came into that land, and they are the ones who some or even a lot. We don't even know because of how history has been told. But there are many Black Americans in America that did not come out of slavery.
Yeah,
you'll hear the Moors try to grab onto that, but it even goes back further than the Moors because the Olmecs were there and they mixed in with what was called the Ho Shang dynasty, and that gave birth to what you call the Native Americans today. Mm-hmm. So the people like the President of America and others who are telling this whole narrative or giving this whole narrative of there needing to be a wall. First of all, what you call in Texas today was Mexico.
Mm. The fact you can't build a wall when you want to put it through places with names like Los Feliz, Los Angeles,
New Mexico. What happened to the old one?
Yes. It's crazy.
New Mexico? What the hell is that?
White people come, take over, and believe that it's their own. That's been the history of the world. So you can believe the selfishness in Wakanda. They sat and watched. They'd be like, "Oh, y'all want to screw yourselves up? Go right ahead. We can sit on something."
No, I get it. Trust me, I understand. And we all know if we
biting your ass.
No, but if we're honest, like Uncle said, you got to be careful with who you allow in, and that's all. And I'm not just gonna attribute it to Trump, but because Barack Obama exported more immigrants than any other president. That's just how you have to run your country. You have to be extremely careful to who you let in because they coming from different cultures, different backgrounds, and you don't know what their capabilities are. This is why you have the proper vetting processes. But I don't like extremists on either end. So I don't like when people like, oh, let them in. Stop putting up these barriers and borders and let them stay and let them live and do this and that. Listen, you can't operate that way. So I'm not saying that I'm against Wakanda and their beliefs. I may not be completely for it, but I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand what they were trying to achieve or trying to do. But even though I don't completely agree with it.
But Wakanda was never the melting pot. It was Black Africa in Wakanda.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fine. But then, like Nakia said, there are other Blacks right around. I mean, not right in the surrounding areas because where they found in the opening, one of the opening scenes of the movie was right outside of Wakanda. It was right there, and they were.
So ideally, what they would have had to do, literally, is if they wanted to save those people in those immediate areas, they would have had to build schools in their countries to attract the minds of those who were in those places who thought like them, and then choose from those people who would be allowed in. That would be the only way to do it and maintain the status quo of what Wakanda was. So the thing is that these principles or these plots and aspects of the movie are very real insofar as we've had these types of cultures before that have been destroyed, that have been made into a make-believe world.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And so when we talk about us as black people uniting, what are we uniting around? You know, just being black? I mean, that's not enough.
Good question.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have that discussion as well as what exactly, because I think people get it twisted, right? I think we are confused as to what being black is. We don't know whether it's color or culture, because you see some people, they would say, "Oh, you ain't black, or you ain't really black enough," because they don't, they're not immersed in the same culture, or they may say they I hate this term, the talk white, or do white things, or like white music, and so we kind of
all of us speak white. We speak in English.
Thank you very much. That's what I was saying. It don't make no sense. But the things people say, but this is why I say a lot of people so confused. It's like they try and say this person isn't black or black enough because, oh, well, they don't like hip hop, or they don't like what we consider to be traditionally black things. They try and outcast certain black people. So is it skin or is it culture? That's the question. Is it about the skin color, skin tone, or is it the culture? Because we have many black people all around the world that have very different cultures. So what is being black? What is the black experience?
Well, absent of a culture, yes, both. Absent of a culture, you'll focus on skin color. But with a culture, you will appreciate the importance of melanin, and it wouldn't just be a color.
You need to break that down, Anku.
Well, so the thing is this: we have been, as you say, Greg, tricked into believing that we have a color, right? We have a very ancient, as they would call it, pigment, or as we say, simply solid light inside of us called melanin. And they've been studying melanin up at the University of Michigan from the 1800s, but they have not allowed that aspect of who we are into our curriculums. And they play this color game as if to say we were colored. I was never colored. I was born this way, right? And we understand that melanin is what allows us to access what the Stan Lees of the world were tapping into when they created a Black Panther. We had people with super strength, super minds, or super mentalities that the European simply could not understand. They still don't understand it today. That's what a LeBron James is right now.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Let me know him. And LeBron James is just a freak of the freaks.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Because just to get to the NBA, you got to be part freak. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Or the NFL, you know what I mean? But they relegate us to just being physically, quote unquote, freakish, when really and truly we're like that in the classroom as well. But they don't want to talk about how many. They just released the movie. What was it? Hidden Colors. The black women that Hidden Figures. I'm sorry. Of those black women in NASA, right? Who were the actual computers. So if you have human beings being your calculators, I'm sorry, they're superheroes. I mean, that's a superhero trait.
Yeah.
Good built superior.
Right? So my thing is, there is such a thing as genetic potency. We know that there's such a thing as genetic potency. We don't argue it. Right now, the Winter Olympics is going on. The person who won speed skating, I didn't watch it, but the point of the matter is on, right? But we don't argue if anybody was to say that black people are superior in the 100-meter dash, that's not racist. That's a fact.
Yeah, well, according to the results.
And we don't really have to have a long discussion on that. We just could go through the list.
Yeah, you know basketball, football.
Yeah. We talk about curling. Well, hey, we ain't really into curling like that.
Hold on now. Which one is curling now? That's the sweeping one?
That's the sweeping one with the ice. You see?
No disrespect to the people that do that. That got to be the stupidest sport I have ever seen in my life.
You know, someone got caught for doping in curling.
Stop talking full, man.
Stop
talking full. Doping for curling? know if you mean curling in the gym, doing curls or your biceps or something, man.
For curling. Yeah.
No,
Black people curling? That looks so ignorant on TV.
Yeah. You know, but the point I'm making is there's genetic potency, and what genetic potency says is I mean, this whole idea of race really is just a construct to create this division and create this, you know, crazy world that we live in. We were tribes before we had a race. We were tribes.
Right.
We had to work together to maintain the ecology for all of us to be able to live in it. And we have to get back to understanding who we are. But the problem is we've mixed in so many different ways that there now has to be a way of life that says you ain't gonna be no pure anything in terms of a tribe right now. Because of how much mixing, right? However, there were commonalities that these tribes had that we can all embrace. That's what we call Ma'at. You understand? And that order of Ma'at simply says that, hey, we're gonna work together for something that's bigger and better than us. And we call that the Most High, whether you call it nature, whatever you call it. The point of the matter is there's something bigger than us that we can put our egos aside. Put your ego aside and put my ego aside, and let's work towards a better society for our children. If you don't want to do it for your children, do it for your children. I don't do what I do for my children. I do what I do for my children's children's children, because my children may make me mad, and I may want to stop. So I got to do it for the ones who I will never meet.
Right.
That's interesting. That's true. And Black people need to learn that, because I always say this, you know, like Anku, having grown up around a lot of white folk, one of the things I to just marvel at, and I know that Black people used to look at life like that. When I talk to my white friends and their parents, they ain't worrying about their children's school fee. They worrying about the grandchildren's school fee, because in their culture, Grammy them just pay for your children to go to school. They always a generation ahead, and that's what we used to do as people of color. But we so busy chasing after things in this generation that we stopped doing that now. So that's so true, Anku. It ain't about your children; it's about your grandchildren.
Well, let's do this last segment on just that. Let's have fixing the Black community by getting rid of these dangerous, corrosive cultures that we have adopted and taking on new ones. And when I say these dangerous, corrosive cultures, it's like we discussed a few shows ago, Chrissy, this culture of no snitching that we have in the Black community. Garbage, foolishness, ridiculous. So that's just promoting criminals. It's just that I can protect. I ain't saying that, and I ain't getting that because I ain't no snitch. So you've seen this crime take place. You know this dangerous person is here, but you ain't gonna say nothing. So you put other people's lives in danger because you don't want to be a snitch, right? These stupid things that we've adopted as Black people. How do we get these things in the first place, and how can we rid ourselves of these dangerous, poisonous cultures that we've adopted?
Well, Anku could tell you where it come from. I was telling him, Anku, that back in the day, snitching meant your life sometime, especially during pro days. So Anku could tell you the story where it came from. But my thing is that it ain't serving us no more.
And that's why we don't like to make it. And it seems as though as and let's speaking generally, of course, it's not going to be everyone, but as Black people, we don't like to change things. We hold so firm to tradition. Like you say, even if we can see that it's not serving us well, we tend to hold on to things forever. And
they say better the devil you know.
And that's ridiculous.
What about no devil?
Exactly. It's like I keep hearing people say, like, in politics, oh, well, you know, just the lesser of two evils. So you open with saying that you select an evil. You know you select an evil, and you okay with that.
Right.
It seems so ridiculous to me, these things that we tend
what we have to do as a people is we have to decide that we're going to be ourselves, and unapologetically so, regardless of how the people that we've looked up to endorse us, no matter how they feel about it, we're going to say, I'm going to be me. And I don't care if you understand that or not. because when we were walking around saying the Mastu and we were putting our right over the left before Wakanda, people was looking at us crazy. People were saying, "Well, what's this foolishness?" They used to call Chrissy. They don't ever call me. They call Chrissy. What's all this foolishness?
They got you and Greg. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Right. But now that it's become the a part of the mainstream, in other words, the people that we actually care about. Most black people don't care about black people. They care about the dominant culture and how the dominant culture cares about them. White people. Yes. How does the white person feel about it? Oh, it must be okay now because Marvel says this is fine.
Yes, exactly.
Right? But yet you could find mummies that were buried like this.
Yeah.
That's thousands of years old, right? But now it's okay because it's been endorsed by pop culture. And we got to stop doing that as a people and do it because it makes sense to do it. You should want to do something because that's the way your people do what is necessary to create balance in their life and not worry about if it looks crazy to other people. I love going into the food store when I finish church in all my garbs.
Yep.
To see people break their neck to try to figure out what's going on.
Hey, and now, let me ask you, sorry to cut you off, but let me ask you, because on that note, how did you feel this weekend when you see all of a sudden now everybody want to dress like Anku? Now it's a cool thing now because Marvel say it cool. You all want to throw on this thing I've been wearing forever. How did you feel this weekend?
Actually, honestly, I'm ordering the shikis to sell. You know,
man, it was the video, man. You supposed to have
my thought, Greg, was, dang, I missed it. I really could have been selling me all these shikis.
Man, you could have had them out outside the church, put them up on one line or something on the wall, and
trust me, they're on the way. They're on the way because people into that now.
They was like, I said, what if they talking about Anku and me too? You and your ankh and your ears, and you and your big wavy clothes. All you got is clothes. I was like,
oh, you mean? Yeah, you mean the no-brainers on Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Screenshot. I said, look at them talking about Anku and Greg.
You know what that is? That's called that's called I feel guilty. Yeah. I feel guilty because I didn't really want to be black, and now black is popular. That's what that is.
For sure. And I want to touch on something because you made a very important point there, and that's this whole. Say she want 2 extra large. She done putting in an order, but I want to touch on something you made mention of, and that's this whole validation. And this is another problem that we have. We're not secure on ourselves. We're not confident in ourselves. We always need validation from the white man. And I was thinking about it earlier in the week. And I hear people say all the time, well, black people control the cool, which is what I agree. We, all the things that tend to become mainstream originated from black culture, as being cool. We control the cool, but it seems as though the white people control the prestige because it isn't until they recognize or honor you, which is why you see people making noise. Oh, Oscar's so white. Oh, they need to have more black people in this and validate. You always see black people making noise, demanding some form of validation from a white-owned entity or white-controlled entity. So I agree with you completely. And me and you stand this way. We need to create our own. Why don't we control the prestige? Why don't we revere the BET Awards as much as we revere the MTV Awards or the Oscars? Why don't we see our own things in the same light?
Right. A big part of it is cognitive dissonance.
Yep.
We hold on to these falsified notions of who we are, even in the face of our greatness. We deny who we are, and we pretend as if what we've been doing is okay when it's really not. And therefore, we continue to spin wheels and not actually make any real progress intergenerationally. We leave debt and we leave problems for the next generation.
Yep.
We are so afraid that somebody's going to think, oh, Anku must be a racist because he goes to he's the priest of the Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. But if he was blue, it would have been the Blue Messiah. We just interested in the truth, right?
The smirk.
Yeah, he'd have been a smirk, right? But people, what you know, and again, I will go into some scripture because this devil, one of the main characteristics of this devil was that he was an accuser, the accuser of our brethren, right? And, you know, I don't want white people to feel special because before there was even white people, we had devils. The first devils was black devils. You know what I'm saying? White people, y'all some Johnny come lately devils. You understand what I'm saying? So so the reality is we got the Johnny come lately devils who running stuff right now, but then you got these black devils who helping them. And we now got it. So being black is not enough. You can't just be black. That ain't enough. You gotta actually have some type of principle about yourself, and you actually gotta have a strategy that says this is what is going to work for us as a people, void of the craziness we see going on in the world today. And until we're ready to do that, then all these people who around here just putting on dashikis, listen, I'm gonna sell you some dashikis. I'm gonna make some money off it.
Don't forget the unks.
And the unks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the reality of us coming together and really strategizing, a dashiki means nothing to me. Because I'll listen to a person in a coat, suit, and tie who talking sense.
Like the pilot in Wakanda, the white boy.
Well, I wasn't letting him in, you know. That CIA dude, he was gonna die. I was not letting him in.
There's a lot of people had a problem with that. And not so much because he was white, but because he was a CIA agent, and we know what the CIA.
No, that ain't it. Excuse me, man. Back in your corner.
Go ahead. Sorry.
T'Challa, bring him because he saved T'Challa Krabby.
So, yeah.
Always back to the.
I would have said thank you, and he was gonna die right there.
You cool, eh?
White man with the final entry. Don't sneak up on me, colonizer.
Listen. I only need to get a bite from one wasp to know I need no wasp in my yard.
But that may be a special wasp.
Now that thing is, I don't. Now y'all on that
special.
side.
He died. He died for me. Thank you. And that's what they say. They died for us.
I don't agree with y'all on that one. When it comes to,
I wouldn't have leave him either.
No, I would have helped him too. And also, I don't agree. And it ain't no.
He helped him. He pushed a little bead in there. I would push a little bead in them. Like, I call the ambulance. We out.
But I see there was an issue. Like there was a I think there was. I wish I'd saved it, but there was a tweet or something from a white person, and he was, which sharing their displeasure with Shiri calling him a colonizer, right?
He is a colonizer. He still work with the CIA.
He wasn't a colonizer.
The CIA is the CIA who said that they will never let another black messiah be born. The only black messiah will be the ones that they create.
You need history lesson, eh, Greg?
No, I don't need a history lesson. I going off of the character and the story in the movie. Okay,
Truth is a lot in that.
I get it. No, I get it. But
how come they don't complain when they'll take the greatness?
Let me get my point out.
I coming right now. They'll take the greatness. They'll say I'm an American and America is a great country. But then you say okay, but then they also colonize. I'm not a colonizer. Well, you ain't great either then.
Hello.
My whole point was okay. Here's my point. Right? I get all what y'all saying, but the tweet was, someone expressing displeasure with her just calling him a colonizer because he was white. And black people were outraged because, he is not supposed to feel a type of way about that. I have a problem with that. I could understand why he feels that way because let's say someone has a store in a neighborhood, right? And they've been robbed by black people 4 times. When I walk in the store, I don't want them to call me a thief because I'm black.
But they are.
Hold on. My whole point is that white person has full and well right to feel a type of way about being called a colonizer when they know they aren't, and all white people aren't colonizers. That's all my whole point is. I get your point, but my point is, black people, you cannot lash out at people for feeling a type of way when you don't want people to do the same thing for you. You don't like when the people follow you around in the store, right?
You know that sounds like
you don't like when people label you and brand you these things that you ain't just because
you can follow me because I'll have you carrying everything.
No, but you understand the point I'm trying to make, right? If you have a problem,
let me say this. if you're not a white person, fighting against white supremacy, I have the right to call you a colonizer because you are actually benefiting from what the colonizers have done. And if you're not on the front line actually fighting against it, then I have every right to call you a colonizer.
I get that. But my point is calling someone that before you even find out whether or not they are fighting on behalf of you.
She had intelligence. That's Wakanda. She knew exactly who he was.
He was the CIA, man. He was the CIA.
Oh,
Lord. I told you. They trained when Killmonger burned the earth. They trained them how to do that. Kill the food supply.
See, we talking about this as a movie. Trump just called Africa and Haiti asshole countries, shithole countries, okay? He did that in real life. Well, after they squat over us and nanny on us and then call us shithole countries. Well, shit on us. It ain't our shit.
Exactly.
Well, a lot of it is. I ain't gonna lie. We can't attribute it.
No. If you squat over a pit and nanny in it after you put me in it, then you don't have the right to then turn around and say, "Oh, look at those nasty people living in that cesspit." After you put me in there, and then of course my own gonna be in there because you ain't let me out.
Okay.
But that's the thing. We got listen at the end, and that's what we were saying, right? I get all of that, but I don't want to say so far removed, but it's a bit of a distance from when it actually took place to now, right? And let's be real.
What?
The white man or whoever responsible are not coming to save you. They are not coming to lift you out the pit. So my whole thing is recognizing this.
Which is why we could call them colonizers.
You could call them whatever you want.
Hold on, you ain't coming for me, but then when I call you out, you mad.
Hold on, Anku. My thing is, we looking for the cheapest wins, right? Call them colonizer all you want. Is that going to lift you out of the pit?
No, but in the context of how that man was called a colonizer, that was a passing glance. That was simply her way. That was simply her way of saying, "I know who you are." Please, colonizer.
No, my thing is, I get it, and I don't have a big issue with it, but I'm saying people have a right to have issue with certain things as much as they want.
They do.
You can't attack someone for feeling the type of way.
But I'm not attacking. More than I'm being attacked.
No, I'm not meaning you. I'm saying the person that, and that's why I wish I had saved it because I would have had the exact quote, but I didn't save it.
Touchy. Okay, Greg, read your comments from your people because people don't read the comments on the show.
Which one, man? Listen, you see how good we have these juicy conversations, man. It's so hard to read these comments, but you see, I've been trying to put them up on the screen. So this is why we encourage people, if you don't already, please follow us on Facebook as the Under the Rug Podcast. You can watch us live. You can comment, and we can put your good, wonderful comments up on the screen so that you can see, because the people that listen on SoundCloud don't get the benefit of actually seeing the comments. Well, we do try to read the comments when we get opportunities, but I know I ain't got this opportunity often, so I gotta get everything out during this conversation. Yeah, we gotta get everything out. So if you're on Facebook Live to see the comments, then if you're on SoundCloud listening to this in the future, please find us on Facebook, Under the Rug Podcast. Look for the shows, and you can go back and you can watch it, and you will be able to see the comments on the screen. But let's wrap up with this thing. Now, how you feel about, and this goes back to the bad things that we've adopted and the things that we cherish, right? Rap music. Anku. Now we know historically, and listen, I'm not attacking it because I came up in the music industry. I was a hip-hop music producer. I was in the grind trying to get in the music industry. I understand and I appreciate rap music for what it is, but we do have to acknowledge the dangerous aspects and the influence that it has had on our communities when it comes to the degradation of our communities because of the lyrical content and the things that we continue to glorify in rap music, which is violence, which is demeaning women, and it's especially violent. And what's crazy to me is, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but rap music is the only music that I'm aware of where you can consistently hear about black men killing black men or killing, period. You don't hear very many killings in other songs, but rap music, killing, I could shoot a nigga, but hit him in the face and do this. The violence why is it only okay? Because if you say, I'm going to shoot a gay person or I'm going to kill a Jew, it would be a problem. You see, Rick Ross couldn't even joke about putting a Molly in a drink or whatever it was with the song where he got in trouble and his endorsements pulled. Other things, corporate America will not allow you to say these things, but corporate America is quite fine with you talking about how much niggas you can kill and shoot in the face. Why do you think that is?
It's very simple. I liken hip hop to gunpowder. The Chinese had gunpowder, and they used it for ritualistic purposes to enhance their culture. The colonizers got it and weaponized it and created the Gatling gun and every other type of gun right now that's killing them and everybody else that dies from guns, right? Rap music has been weaponized. There are many artists out there that want to speak about the positive aspects of the community or uplift, and there's an industry that will stagnate any artist that tries to do that. They will not allow you to do the album that says Wakanda forever. What we saw in Hollywood, if we could ever see that in the music industry, as far as a big name artist, I mean, I guess Jay-Z tried, but all he was doing was what Nas already did, right? And the reality of the situation is that when you know that everybody's coming to this watering hole and you want to poison the community that's coming to the watering hole, all you have to do is poison the well. That watering hole for us in many instances was hip hop, especially for a particular generation. And so once that has been weaponized, now you set a catch-all, or I should say, you set in motion the killing of blacks. You set in motion the devaluing of women. You set in motion
normal thing.
Yeah, because life begins to imitate art, and then art imitates life, and then this is vicious cycle. And so because again, we didn't, as a people, decide to own it. All we wanted to do was make some money off of it. If we had decided that we were going to own it, then this would have been difficult. It's no different than what's happened with Kwanzaa. All right? We don't own Kwanzaa. You should not be able, as a person of African descent, you should not be buying Kwanzaa cards from Walmart.
Okay.
Unless you sold it to Walmart. You shouldn't be buying candles from any and everybody. If you say this is our stuff, then we supposed to be supplying what is necessary to manifest it. Right. And that's where we as a people have fallen off, is that we don't understand the economics behind our liberation. We want symbolic victories.
Yes, sir. I couldn't agree with you more.
We just want to feel like we won.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, my brother. And this is why I don't understand the things people get outraged over. It's like these things ain't
what are we talking about? Right.
These ain't benefit y'all in no way, shape, or form. Y'all, and that's why I say we seek the battles that don't matter. I don't know if we seek the set we think we could win, but we seek those battles that don't matter, those ones that are not really going to really and truly empower us. We ain't seeking those battles. Right. We just seeking what will look like we are empowered. Let's get all these black people in this movie. Now we have made it. All of a sudden now black people are on top. I don't know, but if you go outside, ain't nothing changed. You walk at that movie theater, the same conditions and situations are in place. Now I get the symbolism. You're hoping that the symbolism is so powerful that it inspires future generations.
That has changed.
Yeah. Now, hopefully
that's going to inspire some movie makers. That's going to inspire. 20 years from now, you're going to be hearing about the little child who started on a path to do whatever great thing that they did because they saw that movie.
Yep.
I know that.
Yep, and they see people who look like them. See, again, older than you guys. I remember being a little girl in Brooklyn, New York, watching TV. Okay, there were no superheroes and awesome women and men who looked like me. I always remember to this day. That's why I will always love Diane Carroll, because she was the first black woman I saw on TV being a working mother raising her son. Y'all remember Julia?
Uh-huh.
So this movie is going to mean so many things to our children growing up today, where they can see themselves reflected. Okay?
Yes.
We didn't get that. A lot of us in our 50s and late 40s, we didn't get that.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing the images of people in power who look like you, so a little girl seeing Shuri in her lab is going to say, you know what? I like something. Okay.
Yes.
So
That now is not a white thing anymore.
exactly. It's gonna make you grow.
Right, and it's cool, right? Again, and like I said, like they control the all. Remember when you get teased for being smart? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like these dumb things that we've adopted has just been so crazy. Oh, you ain't supposed. Why you going to class? Why you smart? Now, like you said, now it's cool. They see it as, oh, okay, I could be that. So hopefully that's what takes hold in the future. But real quickly before we jet, let me get your thoughts on this. Let me reserve my thought. Let me hear what y'all think first. This whole petition going around that Disney should give 20 or 25% of the profits to the, let me do air quotes if y'all can see, Black community.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
First of all, let's find the Black community.
That's what I'm saying.
Which Black community?
Which Black community?
What are we talking about?
And why penny?
Yeah.
Listen, people, these movie studios are not charities, okay? They are in the business of making movies so that they can make money. You understand? Yeah. And so they're going to do what they have to do. Go ahead, Anku.
Let me qualify what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there aren't pockets of communities of Black people out there who are trying, to embolden themselves and to empower themselves. There are pockets of communities. I'm a part of one of them, right? In terms of a group of people that are coming together and saying, hey, we can do better, right? But we're not teaching our children to wait for Disney to make a movie and give us 20% of the profits. That's not empowering you. All that's doing is continuing to make you somebody who is waiting to be saved. It's a savior complex again. You're in a state of mind whereby because the themes were Black, you feel entitled. No, we're not doing that. We can make our own movie.
Thank you.
We can support the Black. I have a good friend of mine up in New York. He's been trying to get support for a movie that he wants to shoot this summer. And all he's asking our same Black people who talking about all this Black empowerment, who want to sign this petition. All he's been saying is, look, just give me $10, man, towards this film.
That's
right. And people, like, he's literally out there crying. I gotta find the name of the movie so I can share it, right?
Yes, please.
Because we don't want to help our own people that are already doing what we see Disney doing. Right. Look at what they put that brother through hell to put that movie out.
Yes, Han didn't go to support it.
Right.
And that was based on reality, not a fake made up land like Wakanda. That was based on a real story. Yeah, but nobody understood. They didn't celebrate that.
No. And so we're super critical about ourselves. But the brother, his name on Facebook, his name is Daddy Kush, DADDIKUWSH. Okay. Right? Denarian Films. I'll put a link up on my page. He already has a movie called Diary of a Bad Man, right? And he's now producing or about to shoot a film on slavery where the white people are actually the slaves.
Oh, I like it already. I love it.
And it's really just, it's exploring the whole idea of slavery and how we always see images of Black people being slaves, but we weren't the only slaves. Exactly. And you understand what I'm saying? And so I say that to say that we have filmmakers that already are out there trying to do what Disney is doing. How about the communities and the people that are signing these petitions support filmmakers such as the brother Kush so that they can one day become a Disney.
Thank you. I agree. And that's what I'm saying.
Like under the rug.
Yeah, yes.
Right under the rug. Yes, for real. My podcast is coming too in about 2 weeks.
Oh, good. I can't wait. But I agree. And it's like, okay, y'all could brag about all this money y'all made for Disney, but y'all showing yourselves that we have the capital as a people. We have the money. If we come together, we can create the necessary capital to make our own films, create our own Marvel Studios per se, to have these things. But yet y'all want to put the money in the white man hand and then tell the white man, listen, you got to give me a piece of that back.
But look at
Yeah.
what
But the movie's called The Making of a Slave. The Making of a Slave.
The Making of a Slave. Okay, so we got to look. Go ahead,
Black
Chrissy.
people came out to this movie. Usually, Marvel had a survey that said 15% of Black African Americans tend to support their movies. Okay, but for Black Panther, 38% came out. So that's use Marvel statistics and Disney Studio statistics to get your shit together.
Yes, yes. So we have
Panther in my area was $15 a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We have
3D version.
And that's the whole point. We have the capital. Okay, I see Anku send me. Let me see if I can.
Y'all got to weave and bleach.
Oh, yeah, we should support the beauty industry.
Thank you very much. If we took all that weave and bleach money and put it into some movies, we'd have a zillion more of these movies coming out.
And again, going back to what we said earlier about that validation, who we spending the money on the weave and bleach to look like?
Koreans. White
who we want to look like with this money we spending on all this weave and bleach?
The colonizer.
All right, so we have okay, Shuri.
The colonizer don't like our hair like this. When the colonizer, tells you that your beauty is not your kinky coils, it's not your brown skin. Your beauty is the Eurocentric version of beauty. I could see now why sisters are jacked up because me personally, for 30 years I was living the lie. I got my first perm at 5. Okay.
Wow.
Real. So I understand why these women is want to have green eye and light skin and straightening their hair when you have scab in your scalp. I understand the sickness.
Yeah.
You got to break out of it.
We have to.
But see, the thing is this: when you running out of gas, you go to the gas station. You running out of food, you go to the food store. How do you run out of beauty? Because you go into the beauty supply store. Essentially, you're saying that you've run out of beauty. I'm low. You know, my beauty light is blinking. So I need to now go to the beauty supply store to reload my beauty.
I never look at it like that. That's the first time I ever heard of one. You see why I like Uncle?
Uncle, what it is? I'm low on beauty.
I'm low on beauty. My beauty light is blinking. You know, it's turning red.
Like how your gas light on, your beauty light on it.
Yeah, your beauty light on.
Will not know the struggle.
I feel, Chrissy, I feel for y'all though. I feel for y'all. Y'all got it rough.
Yeah, I say, glad I know woman. But on that note, we done run way past time. Listen, this was a beautiful conversation. I appreciate you guys for taking part. I learned a lot. I got some different perspectives, not only on the movie, but on us as a people and us as a community, and how we could continue to move forward and improve as a community. We got to come together and get rid of this stupid made-up concept of race and dividing each other just because of color and skin tones and all of this nonsense. We have to, like Anku said earlier, we have to look at the bigger picture, and like we say in our national anthem, the common loftier goal. Let's aim for that common loftier goal. But first, we have to establish what that is, because, you know, people got different agendas. We have to, first of all, have our goal be common. We have to all agree on it, and then that's the only way we can move forward. And I think that's what's stopping us right now, is we got too many different agendas. Everybody wants something different, and so we could never come together as one and work towards it, because we all over the place with our agendas. And so let's figure out what our common loftier goal is, and let's try to work towards it. But thank you once again, Chrissy Love, Uncle Sarah. Always appreciate it. You know, I love having conversations. Stay picky, and they promote that pickiness inside Black Panther. They promote the baldness.
Oh, just like this.
You just walk around like that?
Oh, deal with it.
Yeah, hey, I with you, buddy. I with you. Kalis Adams is saying, do a part 2, please. Kalis wants us to do a part 2. We'll see, Kalis. We'll see how things. So I think next week I can be discussing the healthcare system next week, though. So maybe in the future, we could probably do a part 2. Well, next week can be the healthcare system, HELLTH, in the healthcare in the Bahamas. That's going to be the title for next week's show. We're going to discuss PMH and the public healthcare system in the Bahamas, why it's so terrible and how we can fix it. So tune in next week. As always, go ahead and Uncle come back. As always, go ahead. Share the video, please. Tag your friends. Share the video. We want to get this show out. We want to get the information out. We have discussions. Well, and Chrissy promotes for you to donate some money. Go ahead and go to goundertherug.com and donate. You all got, I know you all got money because all you all buy all them daishiki and African clothes. You all been spent. Some of you all actually gone and pay Galleria twice the amount of money to see the movie a day early. So I know you all got that paper in your pocket. Don't play broke now. Go ahead to go under the rug.
Under the Rug podcast.
Yes, and go to goundertherug.com. Hit that donate button.
Right.
And if you don't have the cash, then like I say, a share is almost just as good because it promotes the show. It gets it to a wide audience.
So we need the cash.
Advertise. Well, I mean, like I said, I look at the big picture too, you know, because if we have a lot of audience, then advertisers can't ignore you when you have a wide audience. So a share is just as good if you're a little struggling or, you know, you got bills to pay. I understand. But go ahead and share the video. Follow us every week. Every Thursday we do the show. I appreciate it once again. Thank you so much. Chrissy, Anku, until next time. Thanks again. Peace.
Namaste.